Alright, shalom. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah. Yahweh Shemar Alatah Hashem Yahushua. This is the Israelite School UPK. Started at 1 West 125th Street on Harlem, New York, under Commander Jenny Yohana. And today we're going to be conducting the Sabbath service here in Kannapolis, North Carolina, for the Charlotte School. All right, with that said, boy, all right, Salaki. Present yourself.
N.W.O, Ban Yahweh, Ban Yasha'ala.
N.W.O, Ban Yahweh, Ban Yasha'ala.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah. Baaz, Ban Yahweh, Ban Yasha'ala. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah. So while you slide that stick on it. You want, hold on. Ooh. No, grab this, brother. Yeah, you grab this.
Everybody stand in the heat. From y'all to dawn, everybody face the east. We'll say the Lord's Prayer in the heat. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Hadash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malathaka, Taba'ah, Batazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratiza. Just come back this way a little bit. Alright, there you go. Hayah, Bashamayim, Thalanawa, Lakam, Cow, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kawath Nawa, Kazalak Nawa, Kawath Nawa, Wala'ah, Tabayah Nawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Awashah Nawa, Bayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Wa'atbara, La Walamim, in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Prayer for the power. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Baba Kashah. Athanaw. Hakat. Arapa'ah. Ka Makala. Ka Marawa. Hakat. Latahar. Hamatazarayim. Hakat. Lahakoyam. Hamathim. Hakat. Rakawath, Hatama'ala, Lagarashan, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, the water in the English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, please
Salakia. Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
The power to heal.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
All manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the leper.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
Cast them out.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Pray for the blessing. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahushua.
Wa Yahushua.
Wa Mayaka'ah.
Wa Mayaka'ah.
Wa
Alahayim.
Tazav Yah.
Matazav Yahah.
Alawab Yahana.
Alawab Yahana.
Alawab.
Halawapim. Hasaranyim.
Hakatazayonya.
Hakatazayonya.
Hakoyayonya.
Hakoyoyoyo.
Wahagwathim.
Wahawathim. Yahweh. Hashem Yahushua. Warahama in English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
And Michael.
And Michael.
It's like and Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yahana. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. The sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
Psalm 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Ayanya.
Ahahari. Ma'ayan. Yaba'ah. Izari. Ahaim. Yahweh. Aisha. Shamayam. Maharatazah. Ayathan. Lamawat. Regak. Al Yanawam. Shamar. Ana. La'ah. Yanawam. Wala'ah. Yayashan. Shabamar. Yasha'ala. Yahweh. Shamar. Yahweh. Tazak. Al Yad. Yamyaka. Yawamam. Ashamash. La'ah. Yakaka. Wayarak. Balayala. Yahweh. Yashamar. Makara. Shamar. Amnapashka. Yahweh. Yashamar. Taza'aka. Wabawaka. Mayatha. In the English, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yasha'ala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon our right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore.
This Psalm 83 in the Hebrew.
Alahayim.
Al-Dama Yalakah.
Al-Dama Yalakah. Al-Takarash. Wow. Shakwat. Al. Kayahana. Awayabika. Yahama. Yawam. Aimaka. Yawayamba. Sawada. Wayatha. Tazawa. Tazapawanyaka. Amal.
Like a wah.
Wanakakira. Magalia. Wala'ah. Yazakar. Shem Yasha'ala. Iwada. Kaya. Nawa'ai Tazawa. Laba. Alakagwa. Alyaka. Mariath. Yakarathma. Ahalia. Adawam. Wayashamai. Alayam. Abaawa. Mahagaria. Gabal. Wayamawan. I am Allah. Palashah. I'm Yeshavi. Tazawar. Gamashawar. Halawa. Imam. Ayawam. Sarawat. Labanyalawat. Salah. Ashah. Laham. Kamadim. Kasaya. Sara'am. Kayabia. Manakal. Kwayash. One. Nashamadu. Ma'ayan. Dara. Ayawa. Daman. La'arma. Shayathamba. Nada. Yamawa. Arab. Wakazabak. Kazabak. Wakatazal. Manahai. Ka. Nasayakamba. Ashar. Amal. Yarashah. Anawa. Nawa. Alhayim. Alahaya. Say a thumbo. Kagagala. Kakwash. Lapanya. Rawaka. Kaash. Kabaya. Makalahaba. Kalaha. Awayam. Kan. Tabadawa. Basaira. Babasa. Papaska. Tabahalom. Mala'a. Panyaham. Kualawam. Yaya. Makwasha. Shamka. Yahawa. Yabashwa. Waya. Bahawa. Ayai. Waya. Kapawa. Waya. Abadu. Waya. Dayawa. Kayata. Shamka. Yahawa. Labaka. Ayawam. Akahara to say in English. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden one. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasha'Allah may be no more remembered. For they had consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kisan, which perished in Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Made their nobles like Oreb and like Ze'ed. Yea, all their princes, as Sabbath and as Amunah, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as a stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth their wood. As a fire burneth the wood. And as a flame, set the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that man may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. Hold on. Turn the bottom down. That man. Right?
La Yasha'Allah.
La Yasha'Allah. All right.
Bashar, you see.
All right. Y'all know what chapter we left on? Baz, La'ah. Were you here last weekend?
Not last.
in Leviticus. How you with the Hebrew?
I'm getting better.
You getting better? You want to give it a shot?
Give it a shot.
All right. I think we're in Leviticus 16. Abraham, write it down right there. No, wait. Leviticus 18. Okay, what? 18. Let me see that one, Abu Kashal. Give me 1 second. 18. Okay. We're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 16, verse 14. No, verse 28. Verse 28. That's the last chapter, Officer Abraham Mark. Okay. 16, verse 28.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 16, verse 28. Wahasharak. Wahasharapah. A thumb.
Yakabam. Not when it's at the end. Yakabam. Where's it at? Yeah, but y'all remember when it's at the end. Bamayam. Yakabam. Yeah, Khan. Yeah, Khan. Go ahead, yeah, it's a song. Go ahead.
Bagadayan.
Bagadayawa.
Bagadayawa.
No, it's Bagad Yawa.
Bagad
Yawa.
Bagad Yawa. Wara Tataza. Warakataza.
Warakataza Khan.
Basha Ra.
Basha Ra. Yep.
Bamayam.
Bamayam, right.
Wa'a Karaya. Khan. Yo, Yaba Wa'a.
Yep. Khan.
Al Hama Kana. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 17.
Chapter 16, verse 29. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 16, verse 29. Waha Yatha Lakam Laka Quath I Walam Baka Dash Hasha Bayat Hasha Bayaya. But I Shawar. Ba'ashawar Khan.
Laka Dash.
Lakadash Khan.
The I na.
Tha'ainawa.
No.
It's Tha'ainawa.
The Ainawa.
The last one, yeah, Tha'ainawa.
The Ainawa. Napashaf Yakam. Wakal. Mala'aka. La'a. The Aisha. Ha'azarak. Wahagar.
Wahagar Khan. Hagar Khan.
Batha. What?
It's Ka. Yeah, that where you at? Oh. Damn, it looks like a cow on this one. Cow, you right.
Bathawak come?
Bathawak could come, yep. Alright.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 16, verse 30. Kaya. Baya Wam. Hazah. Wakapar. Yakapar. Al Yakam. Lata Har. Athakam.
Damn right.
Makal. Or Makala.
It's Makala.
Makala. Kata Zayakam. Kata Athikam.
Kasa'ath Yakam.
Lapunya. Yahweh. That's a har rawa. Or that's a har ra. That's a hara.
Where you at?
Last word.
Thata Hara.
Hara. Verse 31.
It's Hatatarawa.
Hatatarawa.
It's Sataharawa. Sataharawa. Verse 31, right?
Verse 31. Sabbath. Sabbath Yana. Sabbath Yan.
Shabbath one.
Sabbath one. Haya'ah. Hawa'ah.
That was Haya'ah.
Haya'ah. Lakam. Wa'ayna ya thumb.
Wa'ayna yatham.
Wa'ayna ya thumb. Ath. Napash. Thayakam. Kukwath. I Walam.
Excellent.
32. Wakapar. Haka Hun. Ashar. Yamashak.
Yamashak, yep. Athawa. Athawa.
Wa'ashar. Yamala'a. Wadawa.
Yadawa, yeah.
Lakahan. Zakat.
Thakath, yeah. Abayawa.
Walabash.
Bagadia.
Habad.
Bagadia.
Hakwa
Hakwadash.
Verse 33.
And know what Kwadash mean, right?
Holy.
Okay.
Wakapar. Av. Makwadash. Hakwadash. Wa'ath. Ahal. Ahala. Ahala. Mawa'aid. Wa'ath.
Hamazabak, yeah.
Yakapar. Wa'ala. Haka Hanyam. Haka Hanayam.
Hakahanyam.
Wa'ala. Kal.
Aima.
Hakwa. Hall. Yakapar. Verse 34. Wahayatha'a. Za'af.
No, it's Wahayatha.
Wahayatha. Za'af. Lakam. Laka. Quaf.
Like,
I will.
yeah, like a quath, yeah.
I will Lakapar. Al. Bunya. Yasharala. Makal. Amakala. Kata Atham. Akath. Bashana. Waya Ice. Ka'ashar. Tazawa'a. Yahweh. Masha. Verse 35.
No, verse 1.
Oh,
Leviticus chapter
17. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 1.
Well, we'll just stop at 34 and then we'll just read. Then so pick it up from get it in the English. You got to.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 16, starting at verse
28.
And he that burneth them shall wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in water, and afterward he shall come into the camp. Verse 29, and this shall be a statute forever unto you.
Go ahead.
That in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, ye shall afflict your souls and do no work at all, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger that sojourneth among you.
So I believe this is briefly talking about the Day of Atonement, because that's when we afflict our soul. That's in Leviticus 23rd too, right? N.W.O with the law. But the Lord was already kind of premeditating this day, like that on the 7th month. That's when we afflict our souls. It's called the Day of Atonement. And like he said, everybody do it, whether it's somebody born or a stranger, meaning an Israelite that just didn't happen to be born in Israel.
Right.
He's gonna have to afflict his soul too. If you know what I'm saying, you could be born in another country, but if you're an Israelite, you got to afflict your soul. And be Black and Hispanic and Native American Indian, once you come and learn who you are and your identity according to the Bible, it's our duty to practice the righteous acts. And one of them is, keeping the Day of Atonement. And that is ooh-wee. Y'all know what that's like. That's when, you want to know true affliction, go without drinking and eating. And if you can do that, you can do anything. If you can afflict, that's why that whole thing with Christ, when Christ afflicted his soul for 23 days and 40 days and 40 nights, it wasn't because he was on a diet, because he was trying to lose weight. It's because Christ knew he had to overcome so many. Listen, the scriptures say, and I'm paraphrasing, that Christ was tempted with every temptation each and one of us get tempted with.
Right.
Now imagine that. Now we don't even think about it like that. Now this is talking about the Day of Atonement, right? In the previous chapter, N.W.O. Just read a little bit in the previous chapter, if it's in English. I mean, if it is, I think it is. I believe it is. I wasn't here last week, but I believe it is. But yeah, man, just imagine you having you got to live up to being perfect. You understand what I'm saying? You got to live up to perfection. It is? Okay, Most High Christ. So, you got to live up to perfection, right? And I thought it was my phone, so like, you got to live up to perfection, and Christ didn't go out there in the wilderness just because Christ was trying to lose weight, get on a keto diet, get on a little fast, because he's trying to get in shape. That wasn't the purpose of Christ, suffering that affliction, because he knew if he could do that, he could go and not sin for his nation,
right,
and then go die for his nation.
Right.
A lot of us can't even listen, and not to bash nobody. I ain't gonna mention no names. A lot of us can't keep ourselves from doing the vices that we have if it meant our livelihood, man.
Right.
A lot of us will say, man, we can't, man. I just can't go get no job because I smoke too much weed.
Right.
It'll cost you an Olympic dream. It'll cost you a job. It'll cost you a big contract. Remember that song back in the day? I was trying to go to school, but then listen, that cat was, he was saying something real. Right. We thought it was funny, but he was saying the reality of life. And that's our people, they don't know. As a people, we don't know, and we don't have that knowledge. And when we come into this truth, we find out, man, this is the things that must be done in order for us to reach perfection. Right. And listen, and the scriptures just want us to do it one day. One day we got to afflict our souls every year. One day a 24-hour fast. And the Lord and the Most High made it clear. The priest had to do it. Everybody had to do it. But you know what I'm saying? Because it's just to show you a way that I'm going to afflict my soul so that, everything else can be possible, man. It ain't for dietary purposes, man. People take it for that, but it ain't for that. Read on.
Verse 30. For on that day shall the priest make an atonement for you, to cleanse you, that ye may be clean from all your sins.
And that day the priest had to do this every year, because on that day he had to, and this is so that the Lord can overlook, our transgressions for the year. Now, we're not supposed to sin at all, period. That's why Christ came and said, man, listen, this is how you do it. It seems like, we keep, just bringing these sacrifices, and these sacrifices, we keep sinning. No, it's going to be done. This is how you walk perfect. So that you don't have to do these sacrifices. You understand what I'm saying? But the priest had to make sure that he did this for the people every year. He had to do it, and the people had to do it. Read on.
Before the Lord. Verse 31. It shall be a Sabbath of rest unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls by a statute forever.
By what?
A statute forever.
Listen, this is something we're supposed to do forever, every year, forever. In the kingdom of heaven, we're going to do it just for remembrance. In the kingdom of heaven, we're going to be a perfect nation, a perfect people, a people that doesn't, get high and make an excuse for it. Right. A people that's not oppressed, so we have no reason to get high.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? A people that doesn't sin because we don't know no better. We know better. That's why we do better. In the kingdom of heaven, that's the kingdom of heaven. It will be a nation near unto the Most High. But yet, we'll still have to do this. Yet, we still got to afflict our souls every year so that we can remember this, man. And the Lord can look down upon us and say, yeah, this is my people. Read on.
Verse 32. And the priest, whom he shall anoint, and whom he shall consecrate, to minister in the priest's office in his father's stead, shall make the atonement and shall put on the linen clothes, even the holy garments. Verse 33, and he shall make an atonement for the holy sanctuary, and he shall make an atonement for the tabernacle of the congregation.
So the priest had to make an atonement for everything. That's a priest's job, man. That's a priest's job, is to be, making atonement for everything, man. To ask the Lord to be forgiven. Read on.
And for the altar. And he shall make an atonement for the priest.
And that's what Christ did. He made an atonement for a whole nation, did he not? Read on.
And for all the people of the congregation. Verse 34. And this shall be an everlasting statute unto you, to make an atonement for the children of Israel, for all their sins once a year.
Once a year. Every year we had to do this, man. It's coming up too. I think that's the next feast is coming up, ain't it? No, it's the blowing of trumpets, right? Then is the Feast of Atonement, right? I believe after that is the Day of Atonement, man. Every year, the Black Hispanics and Native American Indians, we got to do this every year, man. If we kept these laws as a nation, man, we would be so successful in the earth, and we will be. And we will be successful. There won't be no excuses for us. You know what I'm saying? We'll dominate in every field of anything we do. We'll rule the earth. And nobody will be judging us because we get high. You know why? Because we won't be getting high. Because we won't be out here killing each other. Because we won't be out here committing crime and and being lawless people. Nobody had no reason to point their filthy freaking fingers at us, man, and say, look at them. Look at those Mexicans that they had a Salakia sidebar. There was one of the biggest marijuana seizures in California just recently, right? It's like street value, and they always want to make it seem like we just do it the worst. Well, street value of one, I ain't never heard no street value of weed at $1.9 billion, And it's in California, right? And weed supposed to be legal, right? So they claim this is, it was an illegal field, and the Mexican cartels they said that they had to say the Mexicans. When California has dispensaries all over the place. Colorado has they grow that stuff. Now, let me give you a little inside thing I know. It's already legal in North Carolina to grow marijuana. Y'all didn't know that, right? Well, I know from somebody I know that's in the industry, they already basically passed the law. They just got to get all the technicalities. And sooner or later, the tobacco fields you saw here in this red soil, it's about to be a bunch of marijuana plants, man. While our brothers are still going to be locked up in jail for weed charges from the 90s and the 80s, man. So it just show you how much this society and this place is against us, because that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to not be doing that. We're supposed to be keeping the Day of Atonement, making atonement for our sins. We're supposed to not be sinning and asking the Lord to forgive us for the wrongs that we've done in the past, man. As Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man. So, all right. We're going to go ahead, N.W.O. Go ahead. You're 35?
No, I got one more.
34? Okay, go ahead.
And he did as the Lord commanded Moses.
And that's Aaron. Aaron had to do this. Aaron was in charge after Moses of the priesthood, man. All right.
Almighty, everybody stand.
All right, hold on. Let me let Kiara
La Yashala.
La Yashala. So,
Sure.
all right. We'll do 7 more verses. Go ahead, Kiara. Pick up at verse 1 through 7. 17 and 1.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 17 and verse 1. Is the first word. Wayadabah. Wayadabah, Yahweh, Ad, Mashah, La'amar. Verse 2. Dabah, Ad, Aharon, Wa'ad,
Banyawa.
Wa'ad, Kad, Manayah, Yasha'al.
That's Banya.
Banya, Yasha'al. Wa'amarak, Alayahum. Is it Zahar? Hadabah, Ashar, Tazawah, Yahweh, La'amar. Verse 3. Ayash, Mabayah, Yasha'al, Ashar, Yashakat, Shawar, Awah, Kashad, Awah,
Isaiah, yeah.
Bama, Kana, Awah, Ashar, Yashakat, Makaratazah,
Makawatazah, kind.
Lama Kana, verse 4. Wa'ah, Pathak, Ahal, Ahala, Salah, Mawa'ai, La'ah, Habaya, Awu, Laha Kwa Rayah, Quaraban, La Yahweh, La Punya, Mashaban, Yahweh, Damar, Yakashad, La Ayash, Wa'ah, Damar, Shapak, Wana Barak, Ha'ayash.
There's Wana Karath.
Wana Karak, Ha'ayash, Wa'ah, Makorah, Ainawah, verse 5. Lama Ain, Ashar, Yabaya Awa, Bunya, Yasha'al, Zabaka Yahum, Ashar, Hama, Zabakayum, or Zabakyum.
Yeah, Sabakyam, kind.
Ayla, Punya, Hasadah, Waha Baya'am, La Yahweh, Ad, Pathak, Ahal, Mawa'ai, Ad, Pakahun, Waza Bakwa, Zabakyu, Shalom, La Yahweh, Awatham, verse 6. Waza Rakwa,
Hakahan.
Salah. Hadam, Ad, Mazabak, Yahweh, Pathak, Ahal, Mawa'ai, Wahakwa Sayam, Hakala, Larayak, Nayak Kaka, La Yahweh, verse 7. Wala'ah, Yazabakar,
Yazabakwa.
Yazabakwa, Salah. Iwadah, Zabaka Yahan, Lasha Yaron, Bashar, Hamad, Zanayam, Akra Yahon, Kakwa, Iwalon, Tahaya, Za'ah, Lahon, Lada Rathon. That's the end of verse 7.
Excellent. Get that brother in here, man. Excellent reading. Take it back from the English. My eyes, Baba Kashaw.
Okay, this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 17, starting at verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 2, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons and unto all the children of Israel, and say unto them, This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded, saying, verse 3, What man soever there be of the house of Israel that killeth an ox, or lamb, or goat in the camp, or that killeth it out of the camp, verse 4, and bringeth it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, to offer an offering unto the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord, blood shall be imputed unto that man. He hath shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people.
Now, I'm going to get clarification on this, right? But I believe that's when, somebody's trying to do something on their own that's not considering him or his people. And I believe this got to do with, the feast or, or brotherhood. But I'm going to get clarification because, it's not a sin to kill your own, goat if you got to eat. It's not a sin to kill your own, chicken if you got to eat or, whatever. But I believe this is more so on a sneaky tip. Like, if you're trying to go ahead and just kill your own goat and I'm kind of putting an example and I'm going to get clarification. You know how everybody else is doing their own thing when we do our feast? When the feast of our feast, when the Lord's feast is up here, when the Lord's feast is the dates of the Lord's feast, everybody else is doing their own thing, right? Like outside of the Israelite school UPK, outside of the truth. So they're not bringing it to the door of the tabernacle. And I read it again. Read verse 3.
Verse 3?
Yeah.
And verse 3, And what man soever there be of the house of Israel that killeth an ox, or lamb, or goat in the camp, or that killeth it out of the camp, Verse 4. And bringeth it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation to offer an offering unto the Lord.
So you're doing it, and you're just doing it for your selfishness, man. You're not doing it for brotherhood. You're not doing it for this nation. You understand what I'm saying? You're being selfish. Read on.
To offer an offering unto the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord. Blood shall be imputed upon that man. He has shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people.
So he's like, man, he shed blood like he didn't bring it as an offering. He's not killing this animal for the nation. He just, but I'm gonna get clarification, fully clarification on this. Read on.
Verse 5. To the end that the children of Israel may bring their sacrifices, which they offer in the open field, even that they may bring them unto the Lord, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, unto the priest.
And I think this is more also regarding to like a sacrifice. Like you're gonna say, you're not considering the priest to do this. You understand what I'm saying? You're like you think the Lord's gonna just you're not going through the protocol basically. You understand what I'm saying? You're going against the grain. If you're sacrificing a goat, you're shedding blood for a sacrifice, and you're not going through the protocol, you're taking it upon yourself, then the Lord gonna look at you like, He gonna cut you off because you're not keeping the protocol. I think that's more, but I'm gonna get a full clarification on this one. But I think this has got to do with a sacrifice of the goat, and that's why it said that whenever man does it outside the camp and offer as a sacrifice, and don't bring it to the door of the testimony of the tabernacle, then he's doing it wrong. He's not following orders. He's not doing the protocol. Read on.
And offered them for peace offerings unto the Lord. Verse 6. And the priest shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar of the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Because what job is that? Whose job is that? It's the priest's job to do the sacrifice. You can't do your own sacrifice. Like, you couldn't kill your own goat, and say, Lord, here go. It wasn't your job. It wasn't assigned to you. What's the difference between the priesthood that we have now? Okay, so that's the law of the sacrifice, right? That's the only law that's been done away with. We know that, right? We know that the only law done away with in the law is the law of sacrifice, right? What does that mean?
Meaning, Christ was a sacrifice.
Right. There ain't no more. We don't kill animals no more for the forgiveness of our sins. So that's the only law done away with. That's the only thing that we don't do anymore. We don't kill goats and cattle and turtle doves and say, Lord, because that priesthood no longer exists. What's the priesthood we are under now? Go ahead.
Melchizedek.
The order of Melchizedek, the priesthood that Christ took on. That means now we're a nation of what? Kings and priests. We're a nation of priests. Now every tribe, every male in every tribe can be a priest. You understand what I'm saying? So we don't do the sacrifices no more. Now we do the other priesthood, the other protocols in priesthood. We can hold a Sabbath service. In ancient times, when we were a nation back in our homeland, only the priests could do this. Only the priests could eat the bread, the show bread. You understand what I'm saying? David wasn't even supposed to eat the show bread. Remember when David went and ate the show bread from the priest? They weren't supposed to give it to him. But then what did the Lord say? He rather what? Obedience and sacrifice, right? Like, that's what Christ said, man. The Lord requires obedience and not sacrifice. So the priest gave that bread to because there was brotherhood. You understand what I'm saying? That's the most important thing. So anyway, go ahead.
And burn the fat for a sweet savor unto the Lord. Verse 7. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils.
Go ahead.
After whom they have gone a whoring.
And that's verse 7. That's in the verse 7? And most of the times when you do a sacrifice for anything, if you're not doing it through the protocol of the priest, you were doing it what? You were doing it for what? What did they do in the wilderness when Moses went to get the commandments, went to get the law? Go ahead.
Worshiping false.
They was sacrificing to a false idol. So that's what this scripture is. I'm pretty sure that's what this scripture is about. That you were going to offer sacrifices on your own because you're not offering it to the. Go ahead.
Sounds just like Thanksgiving.
Right. It sounds like Thanksgiving. It sounds like everything else. It sounds like the 4th of July, and the Lord don't. He don't smell that. He ain't considering that a sacrifice. You're supposed to go through the protocol. Right. Read on.
This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generation.
That's in the verse 7. All right. Can you have a war?
Well, with that Amani,
Men of Israel.
Men of Israel, gird thy loins.
Go ahead.
To prepare to salute the Torah.
I'm kind of getting better at it. You just turn to me here. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabaraka Yah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat Yah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat Yah.
Welcome Yah Adon. Everybody turn face to east. Say the Lord's Prayer and he.
Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malachnika, Kaba'ah, Zaka, Hayah, Aisha, Maharazaza, Hawa, Hayah, Shemayim, Talanaw, Lakam, Kab, Yawam, Wasalaganaw, Wasalagnaw, Wafinaw, Wala'ah, Mayanaw, Sayawan, Abal, Abashanaw, Mayan, Rai, Kayah, Lakah, Amalakwa, Wa'ala, Walamya, in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
The prayer for the power. Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua,
Hashem Yahushua, Baba Kashar, Thunanaw, Akak, La Rapa'ah, Ka Makala, Ka Marawa, Akak, La Tahar, Amatazarayim, Akak, Lahakoyam, Matthew, Akak, Rakawa, Atama'ala, Agarushan, Hashem Yahushua, in the English, Yahweh, the name of Yahushua, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, in the name of Yahushua. Thank you, so be it.
Prayer for the blessings.
Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahushua, Wa Mayaka Allah, Wa Alahayim, Matazim Yahah, Alawab Yahah, Alawapim, Asaranyim, Akwataz Ayoyim, Akayoyim, Wahim, Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, Tawara Amma. In the English, bless you Yahweh, and Yahushua, and Michael, and the angels, Commander General Yohanan, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters, Yahweh, and them Yahushua. Thank you, so be it.
Psalm 121.
Asha'ah. Ayanya. Ahari. Ayan. It's I like it, brother. Scoot back this way, brother. I got it. All right, go ahead. You go ahead. Izari. Ma'an. Yahweh. Aisha. Shamayam. Waharazaza. Ayathan. Lamawak. Agaka. Agaka. Ayanawam. Shamarka. Mana. La'a. Yanawam. Wala'a. Yashan. Shawamar. Yasha'ala. Yahweh. Shamarka. Yahweh. Zazalka. Ayah. Yamyaka. Yamawam. Ashamash. La'a. Yakaka. Wayara. Malayala. Yahweh. Yashamarka. Kara. Yashamar. Avnapashka. Yahweh. Yashamar. Taza'aka. Wabawa'aka. Mayatha. In the English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yasha'ala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore.
Psalm 83 in the heat.
Alahayim. Al-Dama Yalaka. Al-Takarash. Al-Tashakwa. Al-Kayahana. Al-Yabyaka. Yahama. Yawam. Ra'ash. Al-Aimaka. Al-Yamwa. Sawada. Wayatha. Aitazawa. Al-Tazapawanyaka. Marwa, Lakawa, Manakakita, Magaya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Sham Yasha'ala, Iwada, Aya, Nawai Tazawa, Naba, Nakagi, Aryaka, Maya, Yakaratha, Ahari, Adawam, Wayashama, Alayam, Wama'ama, Mahagari, Kabal, Wayamawan, Wayamalak, Malashad, I'm Yeshabi, Tazawar, Gamashawar, Anawa, Imam, Ayawa, Anawa, Labanya Lawat, Salah, Aisha, Aham, Amadim, Kasaya, Sara'ah, Kadyabi, Banakal, Aya, Yawam, Yashamadu, Bayayam, Yara, Ayawa, Naman, La'adama, Shathamba, Yamawa, Wakazaba, Katazal, Nasayakamba, Tashal, Mawa, Ayarasha, Anawa, Nawa, Alahayam, Alahaya, Shayathamba, Kagagala, Kakwash, Lapanya, Bawaka, Kaash, Tabayari, Wakalaba, Alaha, Arayam, Khan, Tamarad, Basaira, Abasa, Apaska, Tabahalam, Mala'a, Panyaham, Palawam, Waya, Wakwashwa, Shankar, Yahweh, Yabashwa, Waya, Bahawa, Ayai, Waya, Paul, Waya, Abadwa, Waya Dawa, Aya, Ata, Shankar, Yahweh, Labadka, Ayawam, Al-Karat in English. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thy enemies make a tumble, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasha'Allah may be no more remembered. For they had consulted together
together
with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, and the brook of Kisan, which perished in Endor. They became as dung for the earth, made their nobles, like a red, and like Zeed. Yea, all their princes, as Zebah, and as Amunah, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame sets the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth.
Men of Israel saw from his return, we'll give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Mount Shabbat, Amada, Rock, Yahweh Shem Yahweh
Yahweh Shem Yahweh
Yah Yamatab, class dismissed.
It's lucky, so I gotta run to my house for 1 second. I gotta grab my medication.
Oh, it's a lot. Go ahead, brother.